What's up, guys? You're listening to another episode of Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. PPC is like fishing. You don't know where the fish are until you've caught some fish. This is a little analogy that came to my head a few days ago, and I wanted to create an episode around it. I love fishing. I grew up fishing a ton. I wish I could go fishing a lot more, but having two young kids at home makes that a lot more difficult. But I relate business to my life. You guys hear it on the podcast all the time. I relate it to fishing. I relate it to baseball. I relate it to working out. There's so many similarities between, these activities that I've done in my life and running my own businesses. And PPC, Amazon advertising, right, has been on my mind so much this year. If I had to do a theme for 2023 of where was my focus, where was my mindset, what was I thinking about to help my students better, it was Amazon PPC. That has just been something that, and again, it's something that I'm developing ways to provide solutions. Like I started offering my PPC setup service. We're now offering full monthly PPC management for clients. So again, I just realized it is such an important factor in success, and it's something that we really need to understand. So talking about this analogy of fishing and PPC, specifically, when you go fishing, you don't know where the fish are until you catch some fish. Now, you might have a good idea of where the fish might be hanging out, right? Let me paint another example here. If you're someone who's been fishing their whole life, like you've been fishing from the day you could walk, your dad took you fishing growing up, you could tie a hook to a line with your eyes closed, you know all the different lures and flies to catch fish and what time of year and where and what lake or river or stream. If you know all that, you're going to have an advantage, right? If you show up to a brand new body of water, a lake you've never fished at, just looking at the lake, looking at the weather, looking at the time of day, you're going to have a pretty good idea of where to start, right? Where to start fishing, like where to cast. You eye it and you see like, see a little rock feature over there tumbling into the water, based on this lake, based on the temperature, what kind of trout are in this lake, they're probably going to be hanging out by those rocks at this time, at this depth, looking for this type of food to eat. You know this because you fished before. So you're going to go over and cast your line and your lure over there, and you may not catch a fish. There may not be fish there. This is your first time ever at this lake, but probably giving yourself a little bit better chance because again, you know what you're doing. Versus someone who has never fished in their life. Like you hand them a fishing pole and they're like, I don't even where do I tie the hook on? What do I put on the hook? They have no idea. They're not going to know what to put on the hook. They're not going to know where to cast. They might even know how to use a fishing pole. What are the chances of them being successful? A lot lower, right? Guys, it's the same thing with running a business. And it's the same thing with advertising on Amazon. For someone like us, me, Andy Isom, our company, right? My team, we've done this a lot. And we've done this for a lot of people. We have a pretty good idea of what works. And that's a big reason why, like I said, I started offering my PPC setup service so that we could set up your campaigns in a way to give you a much better chance of catching fish. So that's exactly what we do. When I set up your ads for you through my service, or my team runs your ads for you, we are like the fishermen showing up to a lake, and we've been fishing our whole lives. Now, obviously we haven't been running ads our whole lives, but that's the analogy we're using, right? So when we roll up to the lake, your lake that we've never fished at before, we can look at it and assess and have a pretty good idea of where we're going to catch fish. Now, to kind of tie this again to the title of the episode, you don't know where the fish are till you catch fish. This is 100% true. So what we kind of do, if I could kind of paint a picture and compare it to what I see clients doing on Amazon PPC on their own. When I go and look at someone's Amazon PPC account, I see this a lot with a lot of people that I review their accounts. And I've done setup for over 20 people now. A lot of people will have one, maybe two campaigns running. Now, if we were to use this analogy at a lake, imagine up a little mountain lake, having two campaigns running is like, and again, this is like the client, the person who just launched their brand for the first time, set up their campaigns. This is like your mom and your little sister who have never fished in their lives are up at a lake and they're throwing their line into the water. They each have a fishing pole and they're throwing their line into the water, and all they tied on was a hook and there's no worm on the hook. And they're just sitting there staring at their line. And you walk up and you're like, have you guys caught anything yet? And they're like, nope, this sucks. And we're like, what did you put on your line? A hook. Well, what's on your hook? Nothing. And you're like, wait, what? Why didn't you put like a worm or bait or something on your hook? Oh, I didn't know I needed a worm on my hook. And you're like, oh my gosh. It sounds crazy, guys. But like, this is real talk. Like, I'll look at accounts and it like, I want to sound like the dad that's like, how come there's no worm on your hook here? Talking about their Amazon campaigns. And they're just like, oh, I thought I caught fish with a hook. I thought that's how you catch fish is with a hook. I didn't know I needed a worm on it or bait. And it's not like they're dumb. It's just they don't know what they don't know. They don't know how to catch fish. They've never caught fish. They've never been fishing. You can't expect them to know. So that's something I see again all the time. Now, when you set up the campaign strategy that we teach, it's like having a whole team of fishermen. Imagine like the high school fishing team. I don't even know if those are a thing. I would have been on it if it was at my high school. The high school fishing team rolls up to the lake and there's 14 fishermen and they all spread out around the entire outside of the lake. Okay. 14 guys all spread evenly throughout the whole lake. They all cast. They're different lures too. Someone casts like a Rapala. Someone casts a worm. Someone casts power bait. Someone casts a fly. Everyone's casting something different and they're all spread out around the lake. Are all of those guys, fishing team guys, are they all going to catch the same amount of fish? No, they are not. I could bet my house they are not. Are they all good fishermen? Yeah. Do they all know what they're doing? Yeah. Are they all set up for success? Yeah. You're not going to know where the fish are though until you catch some fish. And then you're also not going to know what method catches the most fish until you test all the methods. Again, that's the problem. Like when I look at students like, okay, your mom and your little sister throw a fishing line out into the water and they just have hooks on the end. No bait. This sucks. It's not working. We're not catching fish. I'm going home, or they're turning off their ads account and they're not running ads anymore. You didn't give it a fair chance. Heck, you could have put a worm on. Like, let's say you got your worm on the hook and you still didn't catch fish. And you're like, Andy, I put my worm on my hook. And I still didn't catch fish. This sucks. Well, what if in your lake that you're fishing in at that time of day, right? For thinking about fishing, what if the fish are biting flies, not worms? They're up at the surface eating flies off. Like you see them, when you go to a lake and you see all the fish like bloop, 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 making little ripples at the top, eating the flies, and you're throwing a worm out there. No one's eating a worm. It's like all the fish have their head up to the sky because they're looking for flies. They ain't looking at your worm. You could smack them in the face with your worm and they wouldn't care. Guys, it's the same thing with Amazon. You're not going to know if the fish are biting worms, flies, power bait, whatever the lure is until you test them. So that's what we do. We test all the different campaigns, keywords, broad, match, exact, product targeting, ASIN targeting, category targeting, auto campaigns, close match, loose match, substitutes, complements, display ads, video ads, store ads. We test all of them. We put our little army, our little fishing team around the whole outside of your lake and cast in a whole bunch of different lures, product targeting, close match targeting, keyword targeting, right? All the different targeting types, and see which one catches the fish. They're not all going to catch the same amount of fish. They're not all going to catch the best fish. Some might only catch little fish. Maybe the big fish are eating the worms, the little fish are eating the flies. You won't know until you test. You're not going to know where they're hanging out. Are the fish by the rocks? Are the fish over by the dam? Are the fish in the middle of the lake? Are the fish by the logs under the water? You need to fish all the spots to figure out where the biggest fish are and where you can catch the most of them. You have to test. Just like you would if you were fishing. You test, you try a different lure, you move to a different spot until you find out, oh, I caught a fish here, I caught it on a worm, let's keep trying worms. Or if you're lucky and you have 14 people on your fishing team, hey, Billy's caught 5 fish on a fly already. What are you going to do? Let's say you're at the lake with your 5 buddies. You all have something different on your lines. I got a fly, Billy has a worm, Downing has a Rapala, a spinner, right? And they got different lures. There's 5 of you. No one's catching squat except for Billy. Did I say Billy had the fly? Well, Billy has the fly. Billy's throwing a fly out there and he's just catching them like hotcakes. Logically, what would you do in that situation? You would cut your hook off, you would tie on a fly, and you would throw a fly out there too. Pretty soon, all 5 of you, what are you doing? You're all throwing flies out there and you're all catching fish. Guys, it is the same thing with advertising. You throw all your different crap out there, you see where the fish are, you go there more, and you figure out what is catching the most fish or the best fish, and then you do more of that. If you set up your advertising campaigns and you test all the campaign types and you spend $100 on every single one, and let's say auto close match, you spent $100 and you got nothing, zilch, nada, 50 clicks, no sales. But on your keyword phrase match campaign, you got 20 sales. You spent $100, you got 20 sales. Are you going to keep spending $100 a day on auto close match if you didn't catch anything there? No. What are you going to do? You're going to spend $200 a day on keyword phrase. Guys, that's the whole philosophy here. You test, figure out where the fish are, and then fish more where the fish are using the lure that's catching the fish. And you do that with your Amazon PPC and you make a lot more money. The people who win on Amazon are the people who understand this concept. The people who fail on Amazon are one, the people who don't do advertising at all. You'll never catch a fish if you don't go fishing. So that's the first issue. You got to do it. You got to believe in it. You have to give it a fair chance. You got to show up to the lake and get your line in the water. Second people, they get past that point, right? First level is you don't believe in it. You don't even try it. You don't do it. You don't want to do it, whatever. Second level, okay, fine, I'll do it. You get to the lake, you throw in a line, you put a hook on, no bait. That's again, the person who's like, Andy, I set up an auto campaign and it didn't do anything. Did you test all the other campaigns? No. Okay, so then next step, test all the campaigns. Okay, so then let's say you get to that level where you're like, okay, I've tested all the campaigns. Some of them suck. Overall, my account ACoS is 300%. Ads suck. No, all you're doing is you're just casting a whole bunch of crap around the lake. You're not paying attention to what's winning. You're not moving to a different spot. You're not trying a different lure. And when you do catch one, you're not doubling down on that. You're all just sitting there dilly-dallying with your line in the water, not actively trying to catch a fish. And these are people who are like, Andy, I'm testing all the campaigns, but nothing's working. I'm like, when was the last time you optimized your campaigns? Like, oh, I thought you just set it up and it just like works. No. Does anyone catch a fish? If you are this person, please email me because we need to chat. I need to up my game. Does anyone catch a fish every single cast? No, not a single person. You can watch Bassmaster Classic. Sometimes I watch it on TV. My wife hates me when I do that. She's like, oh my gosh, you're watching fishing? I'm like, yeah, I'm old and I like fishing. Those dudes, professionals, they fish for a living every day. They don't catch fish every cast. So it's ridiculous to think that you can just set up all your campaigns and they're just going to be perfect and catch fish. No, you're going to miss a lot. And so if you don't adjust your cast in a different spot, cast at a different speed, reel in a different speed. I'm using a whole bunch of fishing talk today. If you guys are not into fishing, you're like, Andy, I'm lost. But if you love fishing, hopefully this is vibing with you. You try a different retrieve speed. You reel in fast, you reel in slow. You give it a few jerks, then you reel in. Like, you have to optimize your campaigns. You have to adjust bids, adjust keywords, add negative keywords, add new targets, adjust. Oh, caught a fish, got a sale. Let's do some more of that. Let's spend more money there. Let's stop doing the other cast because this cast is working. Let's cast more by the rocks. Let's keep casting. Let's keep reeling it in fast. Like, optimize, test, do more of what's working, do less of what's not working. You will catch more fish. Guys, that's it. That's literally the gist of the episode today. So next time you're fishing, hit me up. Let me know if you couldn't stop thinking about Amazon PPC while you were fishing. But guys, please, if you understand this concept, you're going to perform so much better. Guys, 80% of your sales likely are going to come from your ads. 80%, 8 out of 10 sales likely will come from ads, especially in your first 6 months. So if you're not running ads and you're not doing them well, you are leaving a ton of money on the table. It is essential. Guys, if you need help with this, hit me up. If you're the mom and the little girl, you don't have to be a woman either. Sorry, I'm not trying to, single people out that way. But like, basically, if you don't know how to fish, hit me up. Sometimes, guys, it's better to just pay someone to catch the fish for you. I know that's probably not what I'm supposed to say because it's like, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a life. But like, no, when it like comes to like, we're hungry, we need to eat, just catch my fish, please. So hit me up if you need help. We can help you out. I'm pretty dang sure we can. All right, guys, I'm Andy. You're listening to Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. We'll see you in the next episode.